to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So this video is super late. I forgot to do my spring stats and standouts. I was supposed to do them at the beginning of June because I did December, January, and February as my winter, and I was going to do March, April, and May for my spring, which meant that I was supposed to film it right at the beginning of June, and then I didn't remember to do it. So here we are. We're going to do it now. So this is for March, April, and May. I read 45 books, which is pretty amazing, but also I probably could have read a little bit more. So I read 45 books. 11 of them were ARCs. 9 of them I read as ebooks. Some of them I now currently own as physical copies, but I read them as ebooks, 9 of them. I read 2 as audiobooks, which is crazy because I never read anything on audio. 32 were 2020 releases. I never do that. Like, if you go back to, like, when I first started reading and first started putting videos on YouTube, I read backlist out the wazoo. So it's so crazy to me. And, like, I would never buy new books because they were always so expensive. So the fact that I read 32 2020 releases, considering I was on a book buying ban for almost the entirety of spring, I don't understand how that happened. I'm not going to get angry about it, but I just, like, that number was shocking to me. I read 6 young adult novels, which means 39 of them were adult, which is not shocking to me at all. I read 12 romance books. One of them was a short story collection, which was that big Australia chunker of a book. I read 8 contemporary, which again had one short story collection, and that was Once Upon an Eid, which was the stories by Muslim women. I read 1 Christian fiction novel. I read 12 mystery/thriller novels. I read 6 historical fiction novels. I read 1 magical realism. I read 3 nonfiction, which is great. That means I've been still on my 1 nonfiction a month, which is phenomenal. So I'm really happy with that goal. And I read 2 fantasy/dystopia novels. So pretty overall good statistics. My 5 standouts. Now, I tried to pick books that I don't necessarily brag about a lot. So, like, I brag about Old Fashioned a lot and The Guest List a lot. So I didn't really necessarily want to pick those. I wanted to pick out some standouts that I don't necessarily highlight all the time in books that haven't been very popular in general. So we're just going to get started. So one of them I wanted to talk about was Una Out of Order by Margarita Matamor. This was really, really popular over on Bookstagram, but for some reason I have not seen anybody talk about it on BookTube. I don't know why. Sometimes things that are popular here are not popular there, and things that are popular there are not popular here. It's very interesting to me. This is one of them. I listened to this one actually on audio. And this one is following Una, and she lives her life out of order. When we first meet her, it's the eve of, I believe, her 19th birthday. It's like Christmas Eve. It's New Year's Eve. They're like celebrating her birthday and the new year, and they're getting ready to go and celebrate. And clock strikes midnight, and Una jumps forward, and I believe she jumps into her 51-year-old body. And she wakes up and basically finds out that this is her life now. That every year on her birthday, she is going to jump to a different year. She may jump ahead. She may jump backwards. She can jump in any random order, and she has 0 control over it. So she could either jump to 51, and then the next year she could wake up and she's 22, and then she could wake up again and she could be 18 again, and then she could wake up and be 60. So she has no control. She basically can jump to anybody. There's basically 2 people in her life who know that she does this. And we don't really ever get a reason why her body does this. I kind of wish we had that, but as a magical realism, you kind of have to put that outside of your brain. But it was a really fun, intriguing story, getting to see her explore her life this way and trying to imagine yourself living your life this way. It was a really fun story. Highly recommend you check this one out. And I'm not a huge magical realism fan, so that says a lot. Another book that I wanted to talk about was The Holdout by Graham Moore. This is kind of a mystery thriller, kind of like legal drama. We are following our main character, and when, like, it was years earlier, she was on a jury, and they let the man go free. She kind of was like the holdout, and she really thought that the man was innocent. It's now years later, and they're kind of re-getting the jury back together, and, they are kind of like revisiting the trial. So we're kind of getting alternate perspectives of back when the trial was happening, and we're going through all the different jury perspectives. But during the current timeline, she finds a dead body in her room, which then kind of re-sparks more drama. So we were trying to figure out what happened in the past and what's happening currently. And it was a really entertaining story. I wasn't sure if I was going to like this one too much, but I actually like flew through this one and really enjoyed it. Originally, I did not choose this as my book of the month, but the next month I knew I had to grab it, and I'm so glad that I did. Then another one is Happy and You Know It by Laura Hankin. I read this as an ARC, but you can also get this through Book of the Month. Clearly, I really like Book of the Month. 3 out of my 5 books are Book of the Month choices. So this is Happy and You Know It. And this one was just exactly what I needed when I read it. We are following this girl, and she's a struggling musician, and she's just trying to make it work in New York. And she ends up taking a job basically being a musician for this like play group, this like baby play group, and their moms are totally like these like, let's have champagne and let's like be famous on Instagram for being moms, and like those types of moms. And so she's trying to figure out their life. They kind of like welcome her into their circle, and it was a lot of fun. It reminded me of Big Little Lies a little bit. It definitely took a turn that I wasn't expecting, and it was so much fun. And again, it was exactly what I needed right at the right time, and I really, really enjoyed this one. Yeah. Then another one that stood out to me was House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. This one took me completely by surprise. This was a book pick last year for Book of the Month, and I didn't choose it, and I ended up trading someone for it at some point this year. And I ended up buddy reading this one with Kendra, and we were both kind of in the fantasy mood. I saw that she had it in her TBR, and I was like, hey, let me know when you read it, because I want to read it too. And so she was like, actually, let's read it this weekend. So we read it, and we flew through it. Like, we were talking the entire time while we were reading this, and at one point I just like had to just like binge the ending. I was like, you're gonna get to a point and you're not gonna be able to stop. And again, it was a fun fantasy, and I had heard mixed things about it. It's a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, and I've read a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling that I wasn't crazy about, and so I was kind of nervous that this one would be the same, and this one just like blew it out of the water. Phenomenal read. Perfect for the summer, perfect for winter. I feel like it's perfect for any time of year. Highly recommend you check this fantasy out if you have not done so already. And the last standout, I'm going to kind of link them together, and that is the What He Doesn't Know duet. I always pulled this wrong. What He Doesn't Know and What He Always Knew. I was going to pull out Old Fashioned, but I feel like you've heard me talk about it enough. But this is a duet, and this broke my bloody heart. I cried so hard reading these books. This even tackles a trope that I hate. I hate when books have cheating, and this one, for some reason, I was able to look past it, and this series broke me. It's so beautiful. It's about a woman who's married to a man, and they're kind of having this really tough time at this point, and her childhood best friend moves back into town and kind of re-sparks something between the two of them. She does end up with who I wanted her to end up with, which is probably what makes me happy, and I could, you know what I mean? So like, I think that kind of had something to do with it, but it is heartbreaking. It is tragic. There are a ton of triggers in here, but it was beautiful, and I loved it. So I'm so mad that I slept on this for so long, because for some reason, I don't even know why, I just didn't pick these books up. I just didn't. And I'm so mad at myself for not picking them up sooner. These are beautiful, phenomenal books. Highly, highly recommend these books if you are looking into Kandi Steiner. Basically, I always tell you to read anything by Kandi Steiner, but these are definitely phenomenal. Some of the best that she's done. So yes, those are my spring stats and standouts. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys really, really soon. Bye, everybody.